The Rockets leading the Spurs 13-10. Spurs have it as Tim Duncan goes around Juwan Howard, and his jam is blocked by Yao Ming. Foul is going to be called, though, on Howard as Duncan flashes past Howard. Ming thought he had it cleanly. He probably did, but by that time the contact had already occurred.
Well, up above at the ball, Yao Ming actually had a clean block, but Juwan Howard had his hand on Duncan's back. And I'm not so sure if it was necessarily a foul, but I think that the official, Kevin Fair, was surprised that Duncan missed it. It might have been a reaction call more than an actual foul itself.
First free throw good. Starting lineups brought to you by Radio Shack. Singular Wireless is now at Radio Shack, so don't just get a phone, get a new singular phone at Radio Shack. Juwan Howard, Yao Ming, David Wesley, Rafer Alston, Keith Bogans for the Rockets. Bruce Bowen, Tim Duncan, Nazr Mohammed, who's now been replaced by Rasho Nesterovic, with Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili. Duncan hits a pair of free throws. He has 8. Ming has 9. It's 13-12 Houston in the battle of the big men. Rafer Alston with a high post screen by Ming puts up an 18-footer, and he nails his second shot.
It comes off the screen of Yao Ming. That is a tough screen to get around, Dave.
Rockets, of course, without Tracy McGrady for 5 weeks minimum with a recurrence of his continuing back problems. Michael Finley is checked in off the bench for the Spurs, who get it over to Bruce Bowen, the number 2 3-point shooter in the NBA with a long 2 from the left corner, his first 2.
Yeah, Bowen shoots 45% from 3 in that area, but I don't think he misses from the baseline. That's where he loves to shoot that shot.
15-14 Houston, 4:50 in the first. As Alston looks for Howard picking the left side. Goes baseline, puts it up. The scoop is good. And Rafer Alston has outscored Tony Parker 6-0 here in the first quarter.
Well, Tony keeps trying to push him baseline, but that time he had no help from Rasho Nesterovic, who was trying to battle with Yao Ming.
Tim Duncan and Howard going head-to-head here in the first quarter as Duncan low right backs him down. Double team from Wesley out to Finley. Tried to return it to Duncan. Stolen by Howard, who read the pass all the way. 2 former Dallas Maverick teammates in that exchange. Alston to Bogans and a whistle underneath. And the call will go on Nesterovic for the Spurs, their third, his first.
Well, you see 2 different forms of attack from the San Antonio Spurs. They started this game with Nazr Mohammed in the post. He plays behind Yao Ming. And then we talked to Greg Popovich about Rasho Nesterovic. He likes Rasho to front Yao Ming. He thinks he does a very good job. Plus, they can get him in the screen roll on the offensive end, and Rasho can knock down that 16 to 18-footer.
Brent Berry in for the first time for the Spurs for Ginobili. Alston tries to feed Howard. It's kicked in the middle of the lane by Parker. And 14 seconds now put on the shot clock with 4:08 in the first quarter. Houston leading San Antonio 17-14. Dave Barnett and Will Perdue at the AT&T Center in San Antonio. Second meeting of the year between these two Southwest Division rivals. Spurs trailing Dallas by a game beginning play today. They inbound. The Rockets work it to Ming, who's been perfect here in the first quarter. He hits from 15 on the right side. He has 11.
Well, I tell you, Yao Ming has been stuck on automatic these last 4 games, averaging over 30 points and over 10 rebounds, and he started off very well here this afternoon.
Best stretch of his career. And it's a 5-point Rocket lead, 19-14. Parker works left side, flips top of the key. Duncan, he'll launch and rattle it home. Almost staying with Ming, point for point. That's 10 of the 16 Spur points for Duncan, who's not been a great afternoon game player this year. Not a bad start today, though. Wesley, left side, under 3.5 in the first. Flip is telegraphed and stolen by Parker, who snuck behind Ming for the steal. Fast break to Berry, right corner. No good. Rebound, Juwan Howard.
And Berry looks at the official for the foul, but didn't get the call. Houston going the other way.
Rafer Alston misses the pull-up from 20. Michael Finley the board. Outlet to Berry. Picks up ahead of steam. Now pulls back, waits for help, and flips it back behind him to Finley. Finley guarded by Keith Bogans. Takes Bogans to the edge of the lane. Underneath to Nesterovic, who hits a jump hook and is fouled by Ming.
You see Yao Ming gets mad at himself, swings his fist in the air. Rasho, when they run the screen roll, he clears out to the opposite side. Yao Ming turned his head. Rasho stepped in front of him in the lane, got the pass, just turned around and shot the little swinging right-hand hook.
Second foul on Yao Ming and a timeout with 2:58 to go in the first quarter. It's the Rockets 19, the Spurs 18. You're listening to the NBA on ESPN Radio, presented by Radio Shack. Alabama takes over officially at their own 12 with 4:44 remaining, trailing Georgia 20-13. And they have got to assume this may well be the last possession Georgia gives them. They start with a 1-back 3-receiver set. And Wilson with a fake to Coffey wants to go deep up the right sideline, and it is incomplete for Hall at midfield.
I expected them to go with a play that was something they'd had a lot of success with.
2nd down and 10. If he gets to 3rd and long, Bama 2 for 13 on 3rd downs tonight. Wilson in the gun will go deep left this time, and he has a man. It is Brown, caught at the 45 and down. Keith Brown with the biggest play of the night for Alabama. 43 yards from John Parker Wilson, who tried deep right for DJ Hall with no success. He goes deep left to Keith Brown for big success.
Nothing fancy about that. Brown simply took off and ran by Brian Evans, the corner on the left side.
And they hurry up. 1st down and 10. Snap from the 45. Handoff Coffee for 5 yards off left tackle down to the 40. 2nd down and 1, and another short toss complete. This is Bailey. Cuts back over the middle to midfield. 1st down, Georgia. Clock stopped at 33 seconds.
They've got 1 timeout to use, but they don't want to burn it here.
Well, they're going to wait for the set of the ball at the 49 of Alabama on the left hash. Snap it as quickly after that as they can. 20-20. Georgia ball. Clock rolls inside 30 seconds. 1st and 10, the Tide 49. Low snap just ahead of the corner blitz. The throw off the hands of Chandler and incomplete again. This, however, would have been his best catch of the balls that he's had a shot at tonight.
Yeah, that was a tough one. It was a well-thrown ball despite the pressure.
So 2nd and 10 with 23 seconds. They need about 20 yards or so to be in field goal range. At the Tide 49 again, shotgun, 3 receivers, 1 back. And it is roaring. Snap back. Stafford under pressure, throws behind Thomas Brown and incomplete with 18 seconds. So Alabama decides we're just going to blitz him into quick incompletion.
Yeah, it's a good concept. They're blitzing, but they're playing a 2-deep coverage behind it so that they will not give up the deep ball.
That time it was Ezekiel Knight coming from strong backer. 18 seconds, 3rd and 10. They need about 20 for field goal range. 10 for the 1st. Same look. Stafford in the gun. Snap back. And the handoff to Brown. Cuts it left. 45 down to the 41. 2 yards shy of the 1st down. And the clock will stop here with 12 seconds remaining.
Wow.
Georgia with its last timeout.
Yeah, at this point, you have to be thinking field goal. I mean, if you do, you're talking about a 58-yarder, 59-yarder, yeah.
Well, we are talking about a guy who has hit a 58-yarder. Brandon Coutu, that's the 3rd longest in the history of the SEC, is also the longest ever without a kicking tee.
Yeah, I don't see it here, though. I think what you have to do, 12 seconds, you have to go 1 more play, and you have to throw to the sideline, an out route or something to get the 1st down, maybe only take 6 or 5 seconds off of it, and then try maybe a 50, 52-yarder.
They need 2 here for the 1st, but I've got to think at least 10 or 12 on the pattern.
Yeah, into the wind.
Otherwise, it's not worth it.
Yeah, you can't make it, and you can't throw a Hail Mary against this defense right now and make it. They're laying off too far.
All right, here we go. 12 seconds in regulation. Tied at 24th and 2, Georgia at the Tide 41. Stafford in the gun. Has the snap. Pump fake. Throws over the middle. Caught. Chandler hangs on to the 30. And timeout with 5 seconds remaining.
The clock will start as soon as they've marked the ball for ready. They've got to do a downer, a quick one.
No timeouts. The officials move the chains. They haven't cranked the clock yet. As soon as they do, Stafford will spike it. Now they crank it, and he spikes it with 3 seconds.
Wow.
So they did about the same distance we were talking about. And finally, Trip Chandler, who's been guilty of the drops tonight, hangs on for 11 yards on 4th and 2.
What great time management by Georgia there. I mean, to pick up the 1st down, to get down, let the clock stop with the mark for 1st down, and then to spike it and get your team on the field.
So where did we say they needed to get to have realistic field goal range?
The 30-yard line.
30, that's where the snap will come. And an icing timeout called here by Alabama. That's their 1st. If it matters, they could call 2 more. I don't know why they wouldn't.
Well, we saw last week, if you were watching any NFL games, you saw Denver do that to the Oakland Raiders. where the Raiders were about to line up and kick a game-winning field goal. Mike Shanahan of Denver called a timeout right before. The field goal was good, but it didn't count because of the timeout. And when they came back and kicked again, Oakland missed it.
This kick will come from the same distance Brandon Coutu hit from earlier.
A little different situation, though. A lot of crowd noise, game on the line, a lot more pressure.
He's a senior. He is at 82%, the most accurate kicker in Georgia history. This is to win the game. This will be officially, I believe, 47 yards. Angle from the left hash, left to right. And Alabama now with its second timeout. Ryan Mims, the holder. Jeff Henson, the snapper. Here is the snap and the hold. They're both good. Kick is on the way, and it is no good. Just wide left. And overtime is ahead in Tuscaloosa. On ESPN Radio this year, for the second time in our 4 weeks, overtime. This time it will be Georgia and Alabama tied at 20. Georgia led 20-10 with 12:23 remaining after Brandon Coutu hit a 48-yarder. And he had a 48-yarder to win it at the gun, just barely go wide left. And I'm wondering if the Bear blew up a little extra breeze right to left just at the proper
Isn't it ironic that the wind kicked up just as Coutu was lining up for that field goal? And also, second week in a row, Alabama with a fourth quarter comeback.
They had gone the entire Mike Shula era, 6 years, in fact, since their previous fourth quarter comeback. So they were down 10 with 12:23 to go. So Alabama will start the overtime periods. Of course, untimed downs starting at the 25, and after 2 possessions, each team must go for 2. Dave Barnett, Rod Gilmore, Joe Shad, OT in Tuscaloosa, 20-20. As we start the one-back set, and John Parker Wilson will hand to that one back, and it is Coffey who finds nothing off the left side. Then Coffey stymied for no gain.
It was almost a give-up play. That thing had nothing going right from the start. The timing seemed off. It was going to the left side. Coffey had nowhere to run immediately. And now you've got a 2nd and 10. A little odd because Alabama was so aggressive at the end of regulation.
Georgia 1-7 in its history here in Tuscaloosa. The one win 5 years ago when they went 13-1. So 2nd and 10 from the 25 again, and Wilson this time has 4 receivers, 2 on either side. He's in the gun. 5-man rush. The throw is incomplete at the 5 behind Cadell along the far sideline. Uncatchable.
Yeah, and I think they missed the matchup that they really wanted. To the right side, Roy Upchurch, the running back, was out man-on-man against Daniel Ellerby, the linebacker. And that is a bad matchup for Georgia. But John Parker Wilson never looked his way.
So 3rd and 10. If they don't move, they have a 42-yard field goal into this win, and it is fairly stiff. Coutu just missed into it. 3rd and 10. Same look. Wilson in the gun, backs up and throws incomplete inside the 15-yard line, intended for DJ Hall.
Oh, that was almost never going to get to DJ Hall. Asher Allen, the corner to that side, was sitting out there waiting for the ball, stepped in front, and almost picked it off. He should have picked it off. He just didn't get both hands around it.
So Tiffin to try a 42-yarder. That would equal the longest of his season. Angle from the left hash is going to be left to right. P.J. Fitzgerald has the hold, and the kick is on the way, and good. A no-doubter from Lee Tiffin, and it's Alabama with the first blood on the first overtime possession, 23-20.
And if you're Georgia, this is why you elect to let Alabama have the ball first. You want to know what they do, and you are essentially the home team in a baseball game with the last at bat. And now they know a field goal ties and a touchdown wins for them.
Brandon Coutu didn't take long to contemplate his miss at the end of regulation. He gets right back up, starts warming up into the net across the way. And now here come Matthew Stafford and the Georgia offense to take over. All this action down below us to the goal to our right, the south end zone, into the wind. I formation on first down. Motion by the tight end, Chandler. Stafford with a play action throw. Going for it right here, and it is caught. Touchdown. Mikey Henderson has won it for Georgia. One play, all it takes in overtime for the Bulldogs. And they race to the far corner of the end zone and dogpile the dog hero, Mikey Henderson. Georgia 26, Alabama 23. And we're set to go on this Labor Day from Chase Field in Phoenix. Dave Barnett and Dave Campbell, and glad you're with us and hope you're enjoying your holiday. Asteris, right-hand batter at 249 with a home run at 18 runs batted in and takes a fastball down the middle. Swings at the 0-1 and bounces it off the glove of Reynolds at third. It caroms over to Drew at short, but Asteris is down at first base without a throw.
Well, you heard Bob Melvin say in the pregame show they hadn't played very good defense behind. Reynolds does not look comfortable at third base. That's his 26th error of the year. He made one last night.
So Asteris at first, and now Ryan Ludwig hitting .301, 32 home runs, 98 runs batted in. Both top numbers for the Cardinals, and a fastball way up and outside. 1-0 pitch, swung on and missed.
A lot of teams will have that number 2 guy, like the Cubs with Ryan Terrio. Somebody with a short, quick swing, can take a lot of pitches, go the other way.
6'10" Johnson will throw over to first. Back standing is Asteris. Ludwig just had a monster month of August. Drove in 24, scored 22. He is 15th in the National League with a .301 average, and one of 6 in the major leagues with at least 30 home runs. Another throw over to first, and Dunn has to reach to keep Asteris at first. Going on the 1-1 pitch, the throw from Montero is not in time. Easily in there with his team leading 18th stolen base is Asteris.
Well, it's one thing about the Diamondbacks, a little bit of a flaw they have. A guy like Webb gives up a lot of stolen bases with his slow delivery, and pretty obvious that Asteris had Randy Johnson read. Randy went over to first base a couple of times.
Asteris was 2 strides away from the bag when Montero let that throw go over the mound. Never had a chance. And now 2-2 to Ryan Ludwig with another fastball. We have yet to see the slider that Randy Johnson is making his living off of. Bob Melvin told us before the game, you're not going to see the 97, 98 mile an hour velocity anymore, but he spots the ball better, and a swung on and missed. Strike 3 for Ludwig, the first out and the first strikeout for Randy Johnson. Strikeout number 149 in 152.2 innings pitched. Johnson still almost a strikeout per inning pitch ratio. 1 gone. Asteris at second, and now Albert Pujols leads the majors at .364 and takes the fastball away. 29 home runs, 89 runs batted in. Pitched around quite a bit, and he missed a couple of weeks in June with a strained left calf. Check a second, and the 1-0 pitch also just misses. 2 balls and no strikes to Pujols.
Well, Randy, number 2 on the all-time strikeout list now, behind Nolan Ryan. 949 back.
Another check of second. And the 2-0 pitch swung on and lashed foul down the left field line. Hit a seat in the 3rd row and bounced all the way out behind shortstop in the short left field. 2-1 to Pujols.
I'm not sure that seat does not have perhaps a dent in it, because that ball was crushed.
Pujols just too far out in front. Leads the majors average on base, slugging, OPS. 1500th hit Saturday. Fastball outside, 3 balls and a strike, and Johnson a ball away from first and second with 1 out here in the top of the first. So the stretch, the check at second, and the throw is swung on. It popped up out behind second base, and the shortstop Drew will make the call and grab it for out number 2. So 2 gone with Asteris still at second, and now Troy Glaus hitting .271, 21 home runs, 85 runs batted in. And he takes a fastball in there on the inside half of the plate. 0-1.
Randy's got some explaining to do to Troy Gloss, because Gloss is 4 for 6 with 2 homers against him, so he cannot give in here with an open base.
Hitting against Johnson, but 161 career average against Arizona pitching. Swings and misses. 0-2. So 3 pitches ago, Johnson a ball away from walking Pujols, 2 on with 1 out, and instead now 1 pitch away from getting out of the inning, which started with Asteris reaching on the air by the third baseman Reynolds and then stealing second. Check at second. And the 0-2 delivery is grounded down the line fair at first and gloved by Dunn, who will make the play unassisted. And after a half inning, the Cardinals nothing, the Diamondbacks coming to bat. You're listening to Major League Baseball on ESPN Radio. Left-hand hitter shortens up, takes a fastball in there, strike 1.
Some of the other guys like Chris Young and Justin Upton, both of them started out the year pretty well, but have really faded as of late.
Pinheiro winds and misses low. 1-1. Drew just off a career 17-game hitting streak until a couple of weeks ago. So he's played his best in the second half of the season. Newest Diamondback, David Eckstein in the on-deck circle. As Pinheiro deals at 1-1, and it is lashed over Glaus, a base hit into left field. A leadoff single for Stephen Drew.
Well, let's see the reception Eckstein gets here.
Drew scrambles back. Eckstein picked up for a minor league right-hander Chad Beck yesterday to come over from Toronto, and expected to share second base with Augie Ojeda. So he's been a shortstop through his career, but he's been playing mostly second this year with the Blue Jays. Another throw over the first. So Eckstein against his former team with Drew at first after a leadoff single. And the pitch in there, fastball on the inside half. 0-1. Eckstein hitting well of late, 357 over his final 12 games, and his, as it turned out, only season with Toronto. Signed with them over the offseason, a 1-year deal. Modest lead at first by Drew. Pinheiro stretches, delivers, and swung on at foul back on the right side, about halfway into the bottom deck, and it's 0-2.
Well, Eckstein was trying to find that hole between Albert Pujols and Aaron Miles on the right side. Pujols holding against Drew at first base.
Eckstein lost playing time after the managerial change. Cito Gaston replacing John Gibbons in Toronto. Pitches low, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. But he did have a couple of hits yesterday before the trade was announced, and finished his Toronto experience at a .272, a home run, 22 runs batted in. Connor Jackson on deck. Bottom of the first, scoreless in Arizona. Our Labor Day special, the Cardinals and D-backs. And Pinheiro delivers 1-2. It is chopped in front of the plate, but foul. Series in Dodger Stadium, Arizona Dodgers rematch next week. Grounder down the line at first. Pujols steps on the bag, throws wild at second, but they have Drew in a rundown. Back to first, back to second again, and Miles makes the tag to complete the double play. So 3-6-3-4 to retire Eckstein and erase Drew, and now with the bases clear and 2 outs, Connor Jackson, the left fielder. Hitting .295, 12 home runs, 70 runs batted in. First pitch in there for a strike.
Well, Pinheiro's a fine line type guy. He doesn't strike very many people out. In fact, the Cardinals are last in the National League in strikeouts, so they need their defense, and their defense just bailed them out there.
The 0-1 pitch swung on and missed. Jackson way on top of that. 0-2. Johnson out of a little bit of a jam in the first after Cesar Asteris reached on an error and stole second. First pitch, a fastball in there on the inside half. Molina hitting .311, 5 home runs, 52 runs batted in. 7th in the National League in batting. And the 0-1 is high and away.
Get the other way.
1-1 pitch hit deep to left center field. Way back, up there and out. Home run number 6 from Molina. It's 1-0 Cardinals. Again, first inning, first pitch from Jake Arrieta. 2-run last after a walk to Elvis Andrus. Third inning, 2-0 pitch after a bunt single by Andrus. And in the 7th, 0-1 from Zach Phillips over the leap of Adam Jones to straightaway center. The last player to have 4 homers in a game, Carlos Delgado, 2003. Baron O'Day has allowed only 1 home run this year. That pitch up and past Josh. Six RBIs, a career high for Josh Hamilton.
Watch out.
This explosion again after he was the last Ranger to get a hit last night in the 9th inning, a 2-run homer. So his last 5 at bats covered 18 total bases and 8 runs batted in. How about another to center field? Number 4, Josh Hamilton on an unstoppable tear in Baltimore.
Getting a standing ovation from the Oriole crowd too. This is like the home run derby in Yankee Stadium.